Welcome back to Cactus Wrestling. Today we will be recapping the Women's World Wrestling Championships 2023, which recently concluded. And the women's team, they finished second in the world, which is pretty good. You know, Team Silver. Obviously gold would be better, but with a team like Japan, silver was probably the best that they were going to pull off, but we'll be breaking it down weight by weight. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And we'll kick it off with 50 kilograms.
Before we get started, just looking at the team score quick. So Japan obviously had an incredible run, 195 points. Team USA second, 135. What's crazy is the gap from second to third is about the same as first to second. So Mongolia only had 80 points. It just shows how dominant Japan is and how dominant Team USA is still. But
Yeah.
Japan, that whole nother level. I mean, Team USA took second. They were more than 55. They were 55 points ahead of the next group, and Japan was 60 ahead of Team USA.
Yeah, no, so Japan over third place and beyond. I mean, damn.
I mean, Japan scored more than double what third place scored.
Yeah. That's
It,
insane.
it's
That
even
is
crazier that
dominant.
Japan, while their performance was amazing, I'm sure they're not thrilled with losing. You know, taking a second and a fifth. I'm sure they were hoping for a first and another bronze, which is just crazy that like they're like, it's not good enough.
Yeah, it's not good enough. We only had what, eight in the finals, seven in the final.
Yeah, seven finalists, six champs,
Oh,
um, a third and a fifth. So it's just insane. Just it's such a great culture over there.
I always question how come the men are so bad comparatively.
I think I covered this one. So like the women, um, if you follow like international weightlifting, not like powerlifting, but Olympic weightlifting. Actually, you'll in powerlifting you'll see it as well. Um, at the lighter weights, Asian countries typically dominate, and it's because they have deeper hip sockets, which allows for more, I guess, torque to be created. So they can have more force
I think you
with
have talked about this
the
before.
same body weight, so it's a better lever.
Yeah.
And I think that you see that a lot with the women, and even with the men, like Japanese men are pretty solid up to like 70 kilos, and then not so great once you get above because it doesn't pay off as much.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Uh, so again, little fun facts out there. I don't know if that's the only reason. I'm just think my exercise science.
That could be one reason.
Yeah, go back. But anyway, Team USA starting at 50 kilos with Sarah Hildebrandt. Um, a bronze, love it. Maybe not as much as I love a gold,
It
but
was it was what we predicted though. We
yeah,
figured she was likely to get bronze because who she lost to in the semis, Moldorjev, she lost to last year 6-2. She did close the gap to 7-5.
yep.
So not quite enough to get into the finals there, but Susaki continues her uh undefeated international, never having taken anything but gold in an international competition from Japan to get the gold there.
And
Um,
boy, put the screws to her at the end. I mean, so as you said, Dorlagev that beat Sarah Hildebrandt 7-5. She got 10 0'd in under 90 seconds by Susana finals.
that's bananas.
It's just like
So even
anytime.
if Hildebrand had got to the finals, forget about it.
Well, that's what I mean. Like it's people like, oh, there's always the guys like, well, if I was on the other side of the bracket, I would have won or whatever, or I would have gone further. It's like, I gotta be honest, dude. Like Sarah Hildebrandt taking third was probably where she was going to finish no matter where she was in the bracket. And it's great that she hit that,
Yeah.
bronze medal.
Yeah, no, yeah. She wrestled really well. I think if come the Olympics she runs into Dolgorjav, I think maybe she'll be able to knock her off and maybe we'll get a world finals appearance out of her. But I think Susaki's just a step above.
Yeah.
2 points was the most points she gave up in the entire tournament in one match.
just an insane wrestler. So, and Sarah kind of alluded to this, that she thinks that the 2024 Olympics will kind of be her last run. I'd love to see her make a world finals in her last run.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I was a little surprised to hear it's her last run. I thought she'd continued trying to go for a while, but
It's I think that despite being, still a relatively young wrestler, she has a lot of miles. Sarah Hildebrandt, I feel, has been a world team member for a long, long time.
yeah, that could be playing a factor. But I mean,
But yeah,
Audrey Jimenez, she was the one that she beat at the Final X, right? Yeah,
yes.
so I mean, she's probably the next toted one to get it if she can't knock off Hildebrandt for the spot, I would guess. But uh, well, moving on to 53 kilograms, we had a returning world champion, Gold, who fell so far from that. I
That
mean,
was really disappointing for Dom Parrish.
yeah, I watched her match. She didn't wrestle poorly. It's not like, oh, this is just a bad like performance. Like she wrestled tough. The woman she lost to from where was it? No,
They literally like just have her as
UW.
UW her team.
Yeah. So Antim, she she was world bronze. The first round she got the bronze medalist, which I mean, you're the returning world champ. You'd think you'd be able to beat a bronze medalist, but I mean, it was obviously a tougher first round match. I mean, maybe she wrestles worse in her first match. I know there's always some wrestlers out there that they need a match under their belt before they can really get the juices flowing or whatever. But I mean, she wrestled tough. It was just she just didn't score enough points. I didn't quite understand how it ended up being 3-2 because she gave up the takedown and then didn't get turned, and then we went from 2-2 to, I mean, 2-2 against her. It was going to be against her regardless. But then I don't get where that third point came from because it was while she was on bottom. So
I don't know. So looking at the Flow Arena right now, I don't remember the match, and I could watch it again. But it says 13 seconds left, 1 point. Flow obviously doesn't say if it's a step out or not.
Oh
I'm
no,
thinking
I watched the match. It was not a step out. It was literally she was on bottom, and then they gave her a point while she was still on bottom, and it was I I couldn't figure it out watching it, but
it's
yeah,
just still disappointing. Anytime. Um, it's also interesting that this is tough to say because I feel like USA was going to take second regardless, but maybe we could have narrowed the gap a little bit with Japan having
well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, even if she had returned gold, still Japan would have been running away with it. But yeah, she was only one of three that did not medal, and she was the returning world champ, and she was one of two that wasn't even in a medal match. So that was definitely an underwhelming performance from the world champ. Hopefully she might not. Well, actually, 53 is an Olympic weight. So if she wins the spot out, I mean, I'm assuming Winchester's probably coming down after her performance. So like, I mean, if she wins the spot out, I mean, hopefully she has a better Olympics or whoever it makes it. But I mean, speaking of 55 kilograms, Shakara Winchester,
woman on a mission. Look like
yeah, she was back to form. I mean, I think I was saying that in the preview video that I was like, she hasn't looked as good as she had been since her world title, like in 2019. I mean, I was hoping she could come back to form, and I mean, she did. She wrestled really, really well. I mean, got all the way to that finals match. Unfortunately, ran into Japan. I mean, she had a close match. It was only 4-2, so she was right there, but wasn't able to put up the points to score it. So unfortunate, but still, I mean, world finalist. That was better than I was hoping for.
now it's super great to see Jakara. I mean, with her first match, I was a little worried. 7-2 victory, I think it was. where I was like, okay, maybe a little closer than I was hoping for, but then she just opened it up in the quarters, 11-1, 10-0 in the semis. You're like, dang, she is rolling. And coming into the finals, you're like, okay, we got a lot of positive momentum. I know it's Japan, but let's see what happens. And she gives up the first takedown in like 50 seconds, I think it was. Like
Yeah, it was
first,
pretty quick. Yeah.
pretty early into the first minute, and I'm like, okay, well, you can work back from that. And then not too far after that, she gives up another takedown. I was like, 4-0 going into the break against Japan is not where you want to be.
Not at all.
So I kind of was like, okay, this match is kind of done in my opinion. Japan is very good at controlling a lead. You very rarely see them lose once they're up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great to see Jakara go take, world silver. Disappointing to have her again though make the finals and not pull it off.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, but hey, I mean, at least, she got the medal, and I mean, she got world finals. That's
Yeah,
phenomenal performance.
I would
Um,
love to Japan like sit out one year like they did with Russia and be like, just Team USA, just cruise.
Cruise control. Yeah, I mean, Team USA easily could have had 10 for 10 world medalists.
Yeah.
Like it was definitely within reason, but it sadly didn't play out that way.
We're gonna talk about this, I know, in like a upcoming video about like, you know, IOC and UWW and all that stuff. I do not like the repechage system. And I feel like I've said that before. And anyone that
Yes.
knows that I don't like it is that it's like, you lost a 1-0 match to the guy in the first round who, makes the semis and then he loses, but he texts away to third. It's like, oh, well, now you get nothing. Sorry, guy.
Well, I mean, that's kind of Dom Parrish.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly her situation.
That's Dom Parrish's performance. She lost 3-2 to
Yep.
someone who made the semis, and then she was eliminated and doesn't get a chance to.
And it sucks. I mean, like, there's that, like, seeing the bracket and be like, the seating we know is trash and it's not properly done. And if I was just on that side of the bracket, and I know I just said this earlier, and I was saying the opposite, the random crapshoot that is the UWW, UWW for seating and whatnot. It's a rant for another day, but it just sucks that that happened again.
Yeah. Moving up 57 kilograms, we had Helen Maroulis.
I was
And
sad.
just as we predicted, Sakurai was too much for her to handle. I mean, we figured she was going to make it to the semis, and it was either she was going to beat Sakurai and get gold, or she was going to lose to Sakurai and get bronze. And she did not beat Sakurai, and she did get bronze. So, I mean, she wrestled tough. She wrestled good. I mean, after seeing the results of Sakurai on Nichita in the finals, it being only 3-2, I'm not even super confident that had Ellen had Nichita in the semis that she necessarily would have beat her. Maybe,
Yeah.
I don't know. Could be, but maybe they'll meet up at the Olympics. I mean, Helen got the job done, got the weight qualified for the Olympics, so it was perfect. I mean, Helen looked as good as usual. Like she had everything she had, and it just Sakurai she shut her down.
I have to imagine that there is a poster of like Helen Morales at like Japan's training center with their face like an X through it. And then for Yoshida,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the one like taint on the Yoshida record.
yeah.
Um like Japan women are like, nah, like that'll never happen again. She's not allowed to ever beat a Japanese woman again.
Right.
Um but it sucks because I got to meet Helen in 2016 after she just won her Olympic gold. She came and did a clinic. Awesome young lady, super great. So when you get kind of like a little like a more of a face to face, you're like, dang, like I always hope they win more than I did before as a Team USA person. And it's always tough to see her like just be there and still fall short. But
Yeah.
it's also tough that like the success is so high in America that they're like bronze, like ugh.
Yeah,
Instead of
you
like
stink. You got bruh.
instead of these other countries that are like, heck yeah, I want a match at Worlds. Like that's awesome.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's just part of being, side effect of being an American is the high level of success they hold themselves to. But if you had someone from like, you know, Spain who in the same weight went 0-1 or 1-1,
Yeah.
getting losing getting pinned by Helen after being down 8-0 for her. And it's like I only lost one, like I won a match. Like that's huge. Like
Right.
some countries are gonna celebrate that, and it's tough that like in
I mean,
America.
a lot of people
Oh,
talk about how it's the golden age of wrestling for the US.
I agree.
Never
100%.
performing this well. So we keep it rolling, you know.
Keep moving.
Moving up to 59 kilograms, Jen Page, first
Jen,
world team. How'd she do?
I was pumped with how Jen Page did. So she's part of the NLWC, which means that she's a personal favorite of mine. Um, got to rep, Nittany Lion Wrestling Club, love them. She would lose to eventual champion, Zhang from China,
Yep.
who, what was crazy is that like Japan didn't actually have someone in the top 10 in this weight class.
It was like their only way. And Page
Yeah.
was one of the few that actually beat Japan.
Yep. So she beat Nanjo from Japan, who was a returning bronze medalist. And after she beat her 4-6, I was like, okay, like Jen Page came to party.
Yeah.
Losing in the semis to Zhang though from China, it was tough. She lost 5-1, but any consolation in the finals, Zhang won 4-1 over Ukraine. So she's right there with the other half of the bracket.
Yep.
She's really bronze silver tier right now. Um, I don't think she's quite there yet for gold.
Yeah,
Um,
she couldn't put anything together to really get a
yeah,
takedown or score any like real solid points against Zhang in that semifinal I was watching.
but
Um,
awesome. She came back hard. Jen Page is a big like side headlock kind of girl, and she's hit it a few times, even winning by pin, and for the bronze medal match. It just shows that she's, and we saw this with a lot of the guys too, is that like they're kind of above the bronze level competition, but still a little bit below that gold tier. I mean, look at
yeah.
Mason, like teched his way for bronze. It was Zahid
Yep.
Valencia teched his way for bronze,
Yeah.
but they're below that kind of gold tier, and hopefully they
Yeah.
can make.
The finals, they're like almost, but not quite.
They're so close. I was thrilled to see her do so well for her first world team. Um,
And now she's got to pick a new weight class for probably go
yeah,
back up to 62. I doubt she's going to cut down to 57 after going from 62 to 59 for this.
yeah, but I mean, especially with how Kayla Miracle did, and we could talk about that
Yeah,
now.
well,
It's
yeah,
like,
moving right into Kayla Miracle at 62 kilograms. Talk about an underwhelming performance. You had the top seed, you were a returning world finalist, silver medal, and you lost to Insei 6-3. I watched the match. Now, I was talking earlier with about Dom Parrish and how she wrestled like she wrestled
solid.
well.
Yeah,
Watching Miracle's match, she did not. This was not the top of her game. Wrestlers have peaks and valleys, like they peak and then they, aren't wrestling quite at their best. And this was more of a valley, and that's not the time to have a valley at the World Championships. Like she really had an underwhelming performance. I mean, yeah, she teched her first person, but losing to Insei, who lost to their next match in the quarters by tech, really leaves just a bad taste in your mouth.
it gets even worse. So like Insei lost the next match by tech to Bolin. Bolin lost their next match in the semis to Japan to Motaki, I believe.
Yeah.
And then Motaki didn't even win the finals.
Yeah, so yeah, she went
So
from second in the world.
yeah, she lost to the person, lost to the person who lost to the person who lost to the person. It
Yeah,
wasn't like, oh, like, at least, Inzi goes on a run. She lost immediately. And the person she lost to lost immediately. And that person lost immediately as well.
yeah.
She
Not
really was the best side of the bracket to make a final and to win a final.
yeah.
Um, it sucks that how it went.
Yeah, we
Um,
really were thinking that this was her year. She was going to
yeah,
go and get that
and,
gold, and
and looking at the bracket, you're like, this is great. Like, look, she's got a great side. She might have a tough match with Japan in the semis, um, but I really think she could win this kind of thing,
right.
and even close. And I don't know what what Kayla Miracle's camp is going to say about it or what happened. Um, but yeah, incredibly underwhelming. Very, very, very surprising. Another person that we were like, hey, like they should guarantee to medal. I think I said.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, you'd think that the two that didn't medal in Parrish and Miracle were like shoo-ins. Like,
Yeah,
there's no way they weren't gonna medal, and it was shocking that those were the two, because there was a bunch of new first-time world team members. So it was just unbelievable to see that Kayla Miracle and Dom Parrish were the two that didn't podium.
yeah,
Um,
no, incredible because just like you said, out of all the people there, I was like, oh man, like these are solid favorites. It's almost like the Kyle Snyder situation where you're like,
yeah,
he almost. I mean, if Sadulayev does an injury default out, Snyder doesn't medal.
yeah, I don't think so. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so it was phrased that like are like our rocks were the ones that were like didn't medal or were
Well, I mean,
struggling.
and I'm just going to throw Pan Am's out there. If that was a precursor, Parrish didn't medal at Pan Am's, and Miracle took bronze, which was, I think, an underperformance on both of their parts there too. So, I mean, not putting too much weight in Pan Am's, but still, it was.
Yeah.
They
How about
didn't really
Great?
make the necessary adjustments.
How about my girl Mace the Great, Macy Kilty at
Yeah,
65?
65 kilograms. She was on fire.
She was coming into this final hot,
She had what,
burning
three techs and then almost a fourth tech? I think she won.
10-0. So
I
10
think
0
her
in the qual.
closest match to that point was what, 11-2?
Yeah. So 10
Like,
10-0 in the qualifier, 10-0 in the round of 8, I guess they would call it. A
yeah.
round of 16, really. Um, they call it the eighth final. 11-2 in the quarters, 10-0 in the semis. And then what happens in the finals? 10-0'd in a minute by Japan. It just shows again, like they are so, so good.
Yeah. Like Kilty dominates the entire side of the bracket, teching her way through. And then you think, all right, yeah, she might actually have a shot. Oh, Japan just is that tier above. Which is wow.
But that's kind of what we've complained about before, though, is like the leg lace issue where you just roll, roll, roll. It's like, okay, that's a tech.
Yeah.
Um, so like she got the takedown like 2.5 minutes. So 28 seconds in, 12 seconds, first roll, 4 seconds later, another 4 seconds, another 3 seconds.
Well, I recently saw Vito talking about how he loves the leg lace. If he can just get to the leg lace, he knows he's going to win the match.
Well, yeah, I mean, for some of these guys, it's like it's your ace in the hole. Like they're so not worried about.
Yeah. If I get it, it's game over. I'm going to beat anybody. But yeah, no, that was a great performance by Macy Kilty. She crushed it, getting
Heck yeah,
silver on her first world team
yeah, that was awesome.
appearance. So yeah, good for her. I wonder if she's going to go down to 62 kilograms to challenge Miracle.
I kind of hope she does. I mean, I think that if you have Jen Page go up and Macy Kilty go down, and Kayla Miracle still there, it'll actually provide some depth for this 62-kilo weight class that
Yeah.
we really need, I guess.
Yeah, because I mean, her alternative would be going up another weight class. In 65, she was just going up to from 62. So like, yeah, I don't think going up to 68 is the move for Kilty. Hopefully she'll provide that depth at 60 too. But then yeah, moving on up, 68 kilograms, Emma Bruntel.
Yeah.
Uh
So, oh, you go first.
well, no, I was gonna say I was very pleased. I mean, I love watching her compete because she's always, tough as nails, and she's leaving it all out there on the mat. I mean, her forehead and face always gets pretty beat up, pretty gnarly. But like she got to the semis, she knocked off the 1 seed. It was like, hey, she's really arriving for her first world team. This is great. Unfortunately, then she lost in the semis, and then she lost in
Yeah,
the bronze medal match, and then to qualify the weight, she lost to none other than Japan.
did the semi slide, unfortunately.
Yeah, the
Um,
semi slide. I mean, it's still even with 3 losses at the world stage, she's top 6 in the world. Like, that's a phenomenal performance. We were
broke.
hoping that she would get to that bronze medal match, and we were kind of like, will she do it? Hopefully, but I'm not exactly gonna be throwing money down on it. But like, I mean, and she did. She got to the bronze medal match. Had this not been an Olympic year, it would have been like she finished 5th. She wouldn't have wrestled Japan in that extra match. But since it was to qualify a weight, she she was just shy. It would have been amazing if she was able to do that because now the U.S. is still going to have to go out
Qualify.
there and qualify the weight at something. Um, Actually, same goes for 62 kilograms. You
Yeah,
think
for
about it,
team
freaking
qualify some weights.
yeah. I mean, 50 got qualified. 53 is 53 is not yeah, 50 is, 53 is not, 57 is, 62 is not, and then 68 is not. So yeah, that's not good.
Hey, though, Bruntiel was the queen of the clutch win. 2-2 victory in the qualifier, 6-3 in the eighth final,
Yep.
quarters 2-1. You know, she was going to lose in the semis, but she got pinned anyway. Um,
Yeah.
and then consolation. I think she left all the magic out there because she got teched by France, and then
Yeah, I
again,
watched the match against France. She got taken down like 3 or 4. No, she gave up a 4 point move and then got taken down 3 more times in the she didn't get turned. So I mean that was good. But yeah, for LaRoque just had her number, I guess. But I I think she'll build off this. I think it's likely that she'll probably be right there in the mix for like the Olympics and whatnot, like, especially if she plans on, kind of, I would say, arguably growing into 68 because she tried to make the team at 65 and didn't, which is what got her at 68, and then she was able to win the spot. So I'd say giving her another year to try and fill out into 68, I think will do her a lot of good.
yeah, I mean, there's going to be one issue with that though next year.
Oh, yes. Well, moving on up to 72 kilograms, we have the queen bee of the prize gem of Team USA.
Amit Elor,
Yeah, talk about
my God, what a friggin' beast! I mean,
basically Team Japan.
yeah, I always I always give her a shout out. I don't know if she'll ever watch these videos or if they'll ever get to her, but I really believe she's like a great role model for young female wrestlers.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah.
she's 19. She's gonna be going for her eighth world title in October. I mean,
Yeah, she's going to get that triple crown for the second year in a row.
back to back senior world titles. She wasn't even happy with her performance in the finals, which is even crazier. Is that she's like, oh, I want to go and score more points, and I'm sure she wasn't happy giving up a takedown. But just she wasn't thrilled about an 8-2 victory in the world finals.
That's bonkers. You think her and Susaki are like, which one of us is going to be the greatest of all time? I mean, Susaki's 24, she's only 19, so I mean, she's got more years,
Plenty.
argue.
Um, but where it gets crazy is so she did an interview with I think USA Wrestling, and she's like, I'm leaning towards 68 kilos.
I mean, I that makes more sense, I think.
She said, she's never cut in her career, so she's always wrestled her natural weight, which is even scarier to think about.
Yeah,
Um,
she'll be probably like
she'll be
I
very,
bet
very
if
68
I
kilo.
bet if Tamira hadn't retired, she'd be beating Tamira out for it, which is
I
crazy to be saying.
so
But I
Um,
think she would be knocking Tamira out of her spot had she not retired.
so she's talking about maybe going. It depends on how her body feels. She said if you know if 68's good and she's feeling good, she's going to go there. But if not, she's just going to try to grow into 76. But I think that the future is going to run through this girl, which is crazy. That like all these people that are around her, the legends that are above and below her in weight, are going to be like, wow, like let's see what Amit, Amit wants to do.
Yeah.
Because we want to make the team, and we're not making it through her.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Whatever weight she chooses to go, because if she goes 76 kilograms, that weight class is already loaded in the
Yeah.
US. Um, and that'd be a shame to lose all of that out. I mean, too bad for Emma Bruntill. She won't be able to go to the Olympics if Amit's down there. But
I, I
good for
saw
USA.
I saw a funny thing. So Amit's boyfriend is a world champion in jiu-jitsu. He's a black belt and I think a two-time world champ in jiu-jitsu as well. And so she also trains jiu-jitsu. And one guy was like, "Man," he goes, "I cannot wait for them to have kids. That kid is going to be a beast in combat sports. You have the
Right.
best mom ever, and a multiple time world champion dad in
Right.
jiu-jitsu. Like that would
Yeah.
be crazy. I hope they end up staying together, marry kids, all that fun stuff. But it's just insane. Um,
Right.
but let's get to 76
Yeah,
with
76, Adeline Gray. I would say return to form after a year
yeah,
off. I mean, still got a medal. Like, I mean, we expected her to. With each competition, she was showing that she was improving. She was kind of getting back to that world level. Yeah, that world level that she's been like every year. So I think this is a solid performance. I mean, she lost to Japan in the quarters 4-1. It was, I think, a closer match than it was Japan had in the finals, right?
it.
Um,
So um, I would dare say it was the closest match Japan had all tournament. So Kagami won 4-1 and then also won 5-2 against Cuba in the semis. But the Cuban wrestler ended up taking fifth, while Adeline took third. I think and in the finals, Japan won 8-0.
yeah.
Um,
So if Adeline was on the other side of the bracket, if she was actually seeded, she might have been in the world finals taking silver in a pretty close match. And honestly, I think she's probably going to make the team next year for the Olympics. And I think she's only going to be improving, kind of getting back to that,
yeah,
top tier that she's been. And I think, for the Olympics, maybe she'll finally do it. She'll get it done and get that Olympic gold, which is, I feel like, the one thing that she's been missing from her resume.
yeah. I mean,
Silver, but
I'm obviously not a mother, but I know that having twins is takes a toll on you.
I'm sure.
Um, it's amazing how quick she was able to bounce back, and just like we saw when she got teched by Kendi Blades, and then she bounced back again at Final X, and then she bounced back even further for Worlds.
Yep.
And I think we're really going to see her with a full extra year under her belt of training and competing and preparing. She's going to be back to that top level that we've seen her at before. And I wouldn't be surprised if she is an Olympic finalist next year at 76 kilo.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I think it's definitely within reason. Hopefully she'll get that gold.
I would love to see. I'd love to see her at 76 and a meet at 68 for
I
next
think
year's
that'd be
Olympics.
better for Team USA.
I think it'd be a really tough, top few weights for us.
Yeah, no, I think that would. I mean, maybe we'd be even more competitive with Japan at since there's only gonna be
Yeah,
six weights at the
you
Olympics.
yeah, you could potentially have two champs. Um, I would
Or
love it.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
at the top.
Time will tell, and we still got a good amount of time before the what's it called, the Olympic trials and all that. It's not till next year, but I'd say real solid performance for Team USA here at the Worlds,
Yeah.
and yeah, be sure to drop a comment below. Let us know what you think. How'd Team USA, how'd the women do? Were you happy with what what their performances were, and how do you think they stacked up with Japan or the rest of the world?
Oh yeah.
Love to hear from you.
Always love the comments.
Like it, subscribe it.
Share it.
Next time at Cactus Wrestling.
Thanks for watching. We are Cactus Wrestling, and we'll see you next time on our next video.